There are different people from different offices and of different professional calling. Yet they all have one thing in common. They are captains of the Nigerian business and economy community. EOM Business Network. So much for one broadcast.
Hello there. It's another beautiful day. Welcome. And this is the EOM Business Network. Oh yes, your weekly in-depth report and analysis on the Nigerian economy as it connects with operators of businesses and the emerging markets. I am Elkanah Ogenovu Mowarin, and it is good to know that you have taken time off your busy schedule to be a part of this week's package. In continuation of our focus on the marketing communications industry in Nigeria, it's a pleasure to bring to you one of the giants in the industry. We're talking about the Kesas Group in a face-to-face with the executive chairman and CEO, no less a person than Enyi Odibo. Sit back now, relax yourself as we unfold the package. Indeed, it is a bumper one. Stay with us.
My number done dey portable, it means say I think to carry am come to MTN. Easy, to enjoy the coverage where no get back to. The number where you dey use now and before carry dey go, yeah. I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to MTN. Carry the same number, I don't upgrade to MTN.
You too can switch to MTN and still retain your number from other networks. Walk into any MTN authorized outlet and send the word port to 3232.
MTN, everywhere you go.
Kesas Group, like I said, is 26 years old, and it started as an advertising agency. In fact, it's an acronym for Complete Advertising Services. It was first set up to be a very premium agency that was supposed to deliver on the gaps we noticed in the industry. We noticed a gap in the kind of quality of brand management in the industry. As brand manager, that's my background. And we thought we could do one or two things. We could either help the clients with the strategy and deliver on the creative, because it was very difficult to get good briefs. It was very difficult to get good research information for agencies to deliver. So because of this gap, we decided to call ourselves a complete people. We would deliver what the client is supposed to give us. In fact, we wrote the brief for ourselves and then delivered on the client. Based on this, we positioned ourselves to be a very, very premium agency. Having said that, in fact, right from the way we set up, we're probably one of the only agencies on Ikoyi. It was quite premium, both in action and in. So that's the kind of agency we were. Now, Kesas Group then moved on from that. As we started growing a lot more clients, we decided to reposition a little bit. And then as the industry developed also, there were other challenges. These challenges included new competencies, new capabilities, new scenarios that made us diversify into various areas like media brokerage, like brand consultancy, design, and so on and so forth. At this point, we had formed an alliance with DDB Worldwide, which was at the time the second largest advertising network in the world, and its credentials thoroughly based on creativity. And so we progressed from Kesas to DDB Kesas. After DDB Kesas, we conformed with the worldwide requirement of DDB Worldwide at the time to drop your local acronym, and then we are now DDB Lagos. We used to do this thing. But as we developed more competencies in our group, we decided that it was time to have a holding company to better manage the shared resources within the network. And I'm glad to say that today, KSS Group is a holding company. So that's KSS Group in a nutshell. DDB worldwide, like I said, is one of the largest advertising networks in the world. It's headquartered in New York. It's in 96 countries of the world, 106 offices in 96 countries of the world. Its major clients of record were McDonald's, Budweiser. Those were the most popular ones that we had. In Africa, we exist in Ghana, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Mozambique, in North Africa, Dubai and all those places. It's quite a strong network. And we are currently working on developing the footprint in the African continent. This is in Kenya. We are in every major strategic hub in Africa. And we are growing that one by leaps and bounds. Vision is a dynamic thing. As the world progresses, the vision I had at the time this group was set up is definitely not what we have now. So, like I said, we wanted to bridge the gap at the beginning. Now, the focus has changed a little bit. About 3 years ago, we employed the services of KPMG. We did a diagnostic of our group to find out what we stand for. It was a very thorough process, and it took us the whole of 9 months to tissue out where we are, where we want to be, and who we want to be. We came up with a single vision, and this involved every senior management in the company, okay, to be the most influential shaper of choice. We've always believed that the human asset of this company is the most important asset, and we don't just mouth it, We start from the family. In KSS Group, everybody who works in KSS Group, as a matter of right, from the driver, is entitled to a certain level of tuition fees for the kids. Okay? Because we think not only that we develop the people that work for us, we think we should get their family into the same system, just to give them the spirit of enhancing their knowledge all along. So we have developing the human capital that work for us, both their families and themselves. Now, about 6 years ago, we started what we call our internship program. And this was driven by the fact that we found out that, the educational system in Nigeria is not very, very strong in delivering the pipeline that we require to get the kind of personnel that will work in a creative environment. So we decided to do this training ourselves. So we put out an ad in the paper and asked for people to come that we would train. So out of 3,000 applications that we had, we were able to select 10 people that we put through a 2-year training program, and the cycle continues to today. Okay, we have an internship program. We train and retrain people. The challenge there is that when you finish training people, you can't sign an agreement and say you'll never leave. They will leave. My conviction is that if we are able to retain 40% of the people we train, then we would have succeeded, and we have been doing that all along. Now, in terms of continuous training for people who are already matured in the organization, using technology, we have almost on a monthly basis. For creative people, for instance, we have on a monthly basis an online training course that goes on all through the year. So people, if you don't pass a course, it will count on your appraisal. You will not be promoted. So, it keeps going on and on for 12 months. So that's how seriously we take training. Here we have also a chief people officer who drives the process. We had to get almost a board level individual to look after the people, to be able to reward, retain, and recognize all the talent that we have. We work for, in various disciplines, we work for Guinness, we work for Globe Motors, Procter & Gamble, we work for Mimi Noodles, we work for Unilever, about 3 brands of them. We work for Mocha Foam, and of course we work for MTN. So those are our major clients in the group. It's come a long way. It was, and I can tell you, it's been quite a dramatic progress. In any case, don't have a choice. You can't sit back. You have to be at the end of the game, and it's also fueled by the fact that there are world-class companies that are coming to Nigeria on a daily basis. So their demands have forced the industry to up its game. Okay, so people have responded to it in a variety of ways. The agencies that are affiliated were more in a vantage position to take advantage of these world-class requirements because they could borrow knowledge from elsewhere in the world. But then one thing is to borrow the knowledge, and another thing is to have the environment to be able to practice what happens elsewhere. Unlike in developed worlds where you have data, information is readily available for you to do your strategies, for you to do your plans and all. In Nigeria, sometimes you have to use gut feeling, you have to use desk research and all those kind of things that are not thoroughly accurate. So our delivery is not 100% wonderful, but the knowledge and the experience is being every day tissued out of our relationships with other people and people in other parts of the world and the clients that we now have. The job of advertising or marketing communication is to raise the standard of living of people. Simple. I mean, we make you buy things you didn't know about. We make you experience things that you never experienced before. So intrinsically, it makes people live a better life. We bring things to you that make you aware of things that you were not aware of before and make you take some actions. We influence you. Influence is subtle, but it's very powerful. We influence you to do things. So in terms of the economy, I can tell you that the way people behave today, their habits and attitudes, are as a result of the subtle influence and the products we bring your way. So it's changed. I mean, it has a very positive influence on the economy. There are challenges. From my point of view, I think it's the lack of a talent pipeline. And I think it faces every other sector in the economy. I find it difficult to get people to recruit people who will make a difference in my company. And because of that, we have to spend an enormous amount of money developing people from scratch. I think talent is the biggest challenge. And also the regulation of the industry itself. I am a believer in that market forces should guide what we do. There's what you call government regulation, which APCON does very well, government regulation that is by law. And then there's something you call self-regulation. We as an industry, we have not organized ourselves well enough to self-regulate ourselves, because if we do self-regulation, we'll be in a better position to be more professional and more, better in what we do. So this hasn't taken place. We are still grappling with government regulation, which is a force. But if we all agree to self-regulate, for instance, if a client brings a product for me to advertise, and another advertising agency tells me that that guy is owing him, I should not advertise for that fellow. If I do, I'll be sanctioned. And if I took on that business and went to This Day or any newspaper, This Day should be able to say, I'm not taking that advertising. So it's a ethical thing, and that's the only way we can sanitize our industry. Those are the two things I think, regulation and talent pool. To a large extent, yes, it has. Within what it can do, it's a government agency, and it's also an agency that doesn't have a budget as such. The government doesn't give us, so it's self-financing and all that. So to that extent, I think it has done a fairly good job. We might differ in certain things, policies that have come out of APCON, like every practitioner should. But largely, it's provided a basis to regulate what we do. And it has also tried to contribute to training some people and giving them, for them to be able to practice in the industry. So the small pipe that they provide is very useful also. Within the group, we have two advertising agencies. You have BBDO and DDP. Both advertising agencies are Omnicom Group companies. The way we want to build this company is to build it after Omnicom. We'll mirror what Omnicom does, okay? We'll mirror what Omnicom does at all points in time. So, because we are supervised by Omnicom, you just have to conform to what happens everywhere in the world. I'm proud to say that one of our unique feature of this company is that we pay our taxes properly. I'll give you my tax certificate. We pay based on the profit we make. If we don't, we will not be in the Omnicom group. Omnicom will police us on that. Okay? So once you are operating in a world-class situation, you have no choice. Even if you are criminally minded, you can't do it. If we did it, we will lose all the relationships that we have. Okay? So, and I think it is in the interest of anybody who is doing business. It is better to conform and do things properly than to cut corners, because when you cut corners, corners will cut you. It's a very tiresome matter, and people are not being straightforward. Okay? If somebody owes you, name the person. It's a transaction between two people. If an agency owes you, you take him to court or take him to the advertising regulatory body and say he owes me, and it will be trashed out. People say, you see, at some point, I couldn't just believe that most of the allegations were true, because if you owe me money, I will take action to get back my money. I will name and shame you. I will shout. I will scream. So, but if you have not been straightforward about your dealings, if probably you sold airtime to somebody and the people decided to share money one way or the other, you can't come out and prove anything. You know, that is what I don't know how industry debt can be an issue. I don't think it's an issue. It's not practical. It's not. It's not. It doesn't make sense. If NTA claims that agencies owe them 20 billion, show the agencies, show proof, take them to court, report them to the AAAN, report them to APCON. There are rules, there are panels that will say sanction them. And all these things can also be enforced by self-regulation. If you owe a media house, another media house should not be able to take your material if there was self-regulation to manage those things. Because we have deliberated over this thing for the past 15 years and there's been no resolution, I don't believe in the debt, that we are painting the correct picture about the debt situation. It's not correct at all. I think it's a little bit unprogressive for people to complain about competition. You understand? If anything, I think it will have a very, very good effect on our industry. What our advice is that people should concentrate on upping their game than complaining about somebody coming to do business in your country. They're coming, so why are you afraid? It's because there's something they're doing better than you, and you think that they will take your business from you. So what to do is an opportunity. In fact, you should look at it as an opportunity. You should look at it as something, as an impetus to better yourself. We pay our taxes, which is good. We are not very big on making noise about what we do. There's an annual thing we do every year. People within the group will look for, consistent with our this thing about developing talent, will look for those people within the group that don't have children, because there's a young workforce. They are free to nominate 2 people from within their locale that enjoy the child scheme. So that's how we reach the communities where we live. So if you don't have a kid, you can bring 2 kids from your community, your neighbor, or anybody but they have to qualify the following manner. 1, they don't have the means to go to school. 2, they are keen to go to school. We have a way of establishing that. Then you nominate them, we will train them up to secondary school. That's what we do, simple. So we believe in people, and almost every act we do is to develop people. So it's consistent with our values. Enyi Odibo is a middle-aged Nigerian who lives in Lagos. I was born in Umuahia in Abia State to teaching parents. Okay, my parents were both teachers, and I grew up in a very, very, what I call a middle class home. So I've been privileged to have had a good life for the short period I've been on earth. I studied in Government College Umuahia, and thereafter I went to University of Nigeria, Nsukka, where I did zoology. So I did a graduate of biological sciences. So chiefly I wanted to do medicine. But when I started cutting toads, I found out that I probably didn't have the nerves to do medicine, so I stopped. But when we got out of school during my youth service, I had a friend who was a flatmate of mine, who, one of these kind of people who always was so passionate about what they read. He was like a teacher, so he was always talking to me about marketing and telling me about marketing principles and all those kind of things. So just something told me, I like what I hear, and I decided that I wanted to get into that field. There wasn't enough to do. We just had a couple of clients, and it wasn't anything that could sustain me, and I had to make a decision to get married. My wife, my would-be wife, was here in Lagos, and so if I was going to get married, I was going to either uproot her from here and go to the east, or so that was the defining moment where I had to make a decision. Is this thing working? If it's not working, make a decision, come back. So I came back to Lagos and decided to set up cases in Olowo Road with the help of some friends. I have 4 kids, 2 boys and 2 girls. They are all, the oldest one is 23, the youngest one is 16. So I'm at that age where there is all the pressure in life to account for my gray hair. I have so many pastimes. I mean, I spend a lot of time at the yacht club, and I also spend time. I have a social group that I look after. I'm called the leader. It's called the Garden Club. We spend a lot of time analyzing the environment where we live and trying to send papers to people, position papers, our opinion privately to leaders in the country. It's not politics, it's more like suggestions. If we took the railway system in the country and then we thought about it and somebody had some insights, we would do that. Apart from that, I also do a little bit of gardening. My house is a very challenging environment, so I garden quite some on weekends. So that's.
I think a lot still needs to be done concerning the aluminum industry.
You build your roads today, you leave it there until totally deteriorated.
There are 2 stakeholders in Nigeria, the government and the private sector.
The end of yet another package of the EOM Business Network. Need I say much? I'm sure you enjoyed it. We hope you have learned more on the Kesas Group. In the meantime, on behalf of the rest of the EOM team, I remain Elkanah Ogenovo Mowari. Same time, same channel, join us. But just in case you missed out on this broadcast, you can as well join us on www.eomcommunications.com. We'll see you next week.